Hey there.
Hi.
We're live.
For
Thank-
real?
For real, I think. I'm afraid people might be watching us.
Maybe not.
I know I'm weird.
Night.
So, hello,
Hi.
anybody who is actually out there watching us. I'm Somisawhel, and most of you would know my guest, Mistress Slaine, Her Grace, Duchess, Sir, all of those things. You probably don't want to stack titles?
No.
No.
Just Slaine's good.
Oh, okay. Oh, 16 people are watching us right now. Just so you know.
Now I'm better fixing my hair.
Now you know. I know. Okay. So thank you for being my first guest on Peering at the Pelicans, which I'm going to show my age. It makes me think of like Wilson on Tool Time or whatever that show was, over the back fence, like, I don't know, peering over, but welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Are you ready for the hard hitting, only the deepest questions that
I was totally gonna look them over better, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't have a buzzer or a
Okay.
anything. I do have cocktails. Are you drinking? Okay. Okay, good. Because that's how we're gonna get through this.
Plus the cocktails before. Right.
Before, during, after.
Yes.
Steady the nerves, all those things. How have you been? Haven't seen you in like
forever.
I know.
I've been good. Good. Staying home.
Yeah. Filling lots of boxes and shipping them off all over the known world.
Yeah, boxes are my life now. It's a good life though.
Is your entire house like a UPS shipping center?
No, my bedroom is 800 square feet. And so we have about 300 square feet of tables and shelves and boxes. So it's all basically just done out of my room. My husband loves me a lot.
Yes. And you obviously love the SCA a lot, or you wouldn't be doing this.
The SCA always has shown me love and appreciation and respect. So I'll always try to give that back.
Wow. It's amazing. And it seems impossible. And I don't know how you do it. And
I do it because my family helps me. That's how I can do it. Definitely.
That's good. That's the sign of a true pelican, right? Is all of the crew helping.
You mean knowing how to convince people they want to volunteer? Yeah.
No, really, I swear this is a great idea.
It's so fun.
It'd be so much fun. You're gonna paint this fence with me. Look how fun it is.
At first I got him to do it because it was fun. And then I looked at Ashley one day and I was like, this is gonna kill me if I don't get help. And she has been over here every day. She comes over after work and helps me.
Okay. Well, you know where I live. I'll come over too if you need an extra set of hands.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure you could convince me it sounds like fun.
It's mostly fun.
That's your superpower, is convincing us it's fun.
Maybe so.
So, all right. We're going to play 20-ish questions.
Okay. I'm ready.
They're going to be a mixture of SCA related, not SCA related. And with any luck, some of these people who are watching will throw in their own questions, and we can.
I saw some of the questions thrown in by a former student of mine and by one of my squires already. I don't like them.
Oh,
they're fine.
Don't forget, if you don't like them, you get to lie.
Oh, that's right. I can lie.
Yeah. So my first question for you is, what's more important, talent or hard work?
I think hard works more important talent, if we're assuming that it is a God-given talent, if you will, if it's a talent you're born with, just having talent will make you lazy if you just rely on that. I think you have to work hard, even if just to improve your talent or to make your talent greater. But I don't think that just having talent will get you anywhere.
It's true. You got to put the work behind it. It's great to be good at something naturally, but then you got to put the sweat equity into it and make it go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we do actually have a question. The Black Duke has asked, being queen twice, have you ever been called tyranny?
Lots of times I have been called tyranny. Yeah, even while I was queen. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Oh, we're all friends here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I will admit, I love looking at the old pictures, the pictures from the way back.
So. Oh, sometimes the pictures from the way back come up on Facebook and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids have no idea I used to dress like that. And then I untag myself.
I've untagged myself in a few photos. I'll admit it. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. How did becoming a Pelican change your game?
I think it made me realize that we set ourselves on a path, and where the path leads us isn't maybe necessarily where we think we're going or where we want to go. And I realized that it was just a part of my path and it wasn't the end of my path.
Just a step on the path.
Yes. Yeah. I was devastated at first. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. My husband and I had a conversation the other night, not about you, but in general about the Order of the Pelican being seen by some as that, like the other peerage, right? The oh, you know what I mean? The other peerage.
Yeah, it's
not necessarily the one that a lot of people sought or were working towards, or
and yet probably one of the more important ones.
Yeah, because who else is cleaning the
prison? I think the scary thing about being offered a Pelican, you're like, oh, now they'll expect me to work.
Only, yes. Well, yes, because somehow it's not like we said no before, but then you really can't say
no. You really can't say no.
Yeah. Although I did the classic, I was elevated and then promptly had a baby, quit as Kingdom Seneschal, and dropped out of the SCA. Kind of.
Yeah, it made the rest of us look great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. It was the classic, everybody talks about that guy, that guy who gets knighted and quits playing, right? So I was that guy. So, Sir Adrian would like, disappear. Yes, Sabia, disappear. I was the ultimate disappear. Sir Adrian would like to know, what is the hardest lesson you've learned in the SCA?
Hardest lesson, I guess that once somebody thinks something of you, whether it's true or not, you will never change their mind. You can't. You could tell them all day long, oh, but I didn't do that. Oh, but it wasn't me. Oh, And once somebody knows in their mind that you are the person that did that, they'll never unknow it. And you just got to learn to own it. And so that was a hard lesson, because there was a lot of times I've been accused of things that I didn't do or been stereotyped. And I'm like, wow, that's not true. But I guess I don't actually care if you like me or not. So it doesn't matter. But it was definitely a hard lesson to learn, because no amount of telling them convinced them that they were incorrect.
Yeah. And that can be good or bad. I think sometimes people get an idea of who you are on a good side or a bad side, and then you're just that person forever.
Are you singing I'm Not Really Nice?
Did I say that out loud? Was that my out loud voice again? Sorry. I meant to keep that inside my head.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is always, there's a huge difference between being a nice person and being a good person. And I think very few people would call me nice, for instance. But I like to think I'm mostly a good person. So, it's
right. I think you're a good person.
But not nice.
No, I don't think you're nice. Not at all.
Okay. Is the glass half empty or half full?
Half full.
Half full. Why is that?
I don't know. I've never had to think about that question. It's just always half full.
Okay.
What's in maybe it? Full's. Oh, what's in it?
Yeah.
At any given time or mostly?
Take your pick.
Coffee.
Coffee. Always coffee.
It's always coffee.
Yeah.
Except I'm drinking ciders today with you, but like I said, my ears burn right here when I drink cider.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
So
I'll let you know if I have to go get a Benadryl or something.
Okay. Yeah, if you start like hiving up, I'll warn you. My husband did a nice support a small brewery thing, some kind of meadery, cidery place back east that was struggling during COVID. So we ordered this case of cans of assorted things with really cool labels.
I could tell by your face it didn't taste good.
No. Sometimes you drink the other thing as the first drink, and then by the time you get to the second drink, you're like, it actually tastes good.
Didn't happen.
No, it was great to be supportive of someone who was struggling. And,
yeah.
And the next time that we have a Bengal bar or a sisterhood bar, we will donate.
Yeah, mystery booze night. It's great.
I love mystery booze night. I will say we like store random stuff in a cupboard down on the bottom and occasionally bring it out and punish our friends with it.
There's nothing worse than taking that first drink of the mystery booze and you're like, oh, that's bath oil.
Someone left a bubble gum peppermint vodka.
Don't say someone left it. You know it was Thomas's.
No, someone who was putting an installation in at my work left it behind when they were done with the project. And it was so hideous looking and so heinous that I took it to something and I took it to Sisterhood Night. I took it to Unit Night at Estrella last year and made people drink it. Gross. You might have missed out on that, but
I hope so. I'm sure I did.
Bubble gum and peppermint. Yeah. Her Grace Conliac would like to know what you feel is the biggest accomplishment as a Pelican for you.
I don't know what I've accomplished as a Pelican that I couldn't have accomplished before. I would say convincing Estrella to let me be a main. That's my biggest accomplishment.
that's one of my questions for you is, what are your favorite and least favorite things about autocrating Estrella?
My favorite, I like all of it. But my favorite, well, I'll start with my least favorite. And my least favorite is that I'm not there. So I have to rely on someone being there to do things that I would normally do. So that makes it hard. But everyone's always been so great and, picked up where I couldn't. And my favorite thing is I love early on setup. Because I was in charge of site, that was a lot of the early on fell on me. And it was my favorite part to watch all these people show up, and a lot of times it was in the rain, and watch it turn into an empty field and become Estrella. And that, I think that's probably why I helped Cassidy do land, so I can still go early on.
That's one of my favorite things about autocrating any event, is showing up before everybody else and looking at this sort of like empty area, whatever it is, whether it's a hall or a field or a park, and just waiting for something to unfold and getting to watch it all develop. I love that. Yeah. Oh, okay. We have more questions. Dame Juliana from Aidenvelt wants to know, what's an event you haven't been to but want to?
I can't think of one. I haven't been to Penzic in 10 years. I think if I could go to any event in Hawaii, that would be fun. But I pretty much have gone to everything I want to.
The one that I always see pictures of them fighting on the beach in, is it in Ontier? Is it Ontier Westmore?
Oh, maybe. That would be a fun one to go to.
It's a date. We'll go.
Okay.
I miss the grain, so
pencil it in for 2023.
Yeah. After we've all got our vaccines and all of that, so we'll go. Sir Adrian would like to know, what is your happiest SCA memory that inspired you?
That inspired, I guess we'll just go back to what inspired me to even want to play. And we were living in Kaid, and we went to Estrella. And I think my youngest was 3 years old. And we got to Estrella, and Kaid didn't have a place for us to camp.
Shit.
And, I was married to a Duke. I was nobody. I didn't know anything, but I was married to a Duke. And he was like, come on, Trevor and Fermina are the Baron and Baroness of Alberon, and we'll ask them if they have a place for us to camp. And they put us right in the middle of their camp and talked to me like I was a person and not married to a Duke. They were the first time for real that someone in the SCA was actually nice to me for me. So that was, that's what inspired me. And then 6 months later, we moved to Alberon, and that's pretty much when I started playing. And now they can't get rid of me. So anybody who doesn't like me can thank Trevor and Fermina.
I thank Trevor and Fermina for a lot of things. They were one of the early B&Bs when I started playing way back in the day. So.
Yeah.
Sabia wants to know, she says, many people think of Pelicans as the people who steward events or hold offices. What do you think are the most important kinds of service in the SCA?
I would think the officers. I think that's the most important kind of service. The officers sit in the back where no one sees them. They do work Monday through Friday. And, I say do work, but it's free. And so they do all the work behind the scenes and do that so we can play and we can have fun. That's why I don't ever want to be an officer. I need to shine. I need to be in the light.
That was actually one of my questions for you. Would you rather autocrat a kingdom event every year or have to be a kingdom officer?
Oh, absolutely. Autocrat an event every year. I'm actually a deputy officer right now. And I am so happy that the person who actually holds the office is so amazing. And she never asked me to do anything. And I love her. And it's awesome.
What?
I'm the deputy exchequer.
For the kingdom? Or
Hey. Are protecting me.
okay. They just wanted you to know that they're also glad that she's good at her job.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I've done both. I've done the officer gig and the autocrat gig. And it's one of those where both of them are jobs when everybody notices when you do them wrong.
Yeah.
A lot. And everybody has an opinion about how you should have done it different or better or how they would have done it. But yeah, I guess I would say that being an officer, you get more of those, the really unpleasant decisions on a day-to-day basis. And by the time the weekend comes around, you don't even want to go to the event.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah. I think I have watched it ruin a lot of people's game. And I don't know how to fix that. I don't know if that can be fixed.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes when they take on the jobs, there's a certain power that does go with the job, but you shouldn't use it for evil. You know what I mean?
Is that what I was doing wrong?
Yes.
Note to self. Don't.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. What were the best and worst pieces of advice you received during your vigils for both of your bestowed peerages from Her Royal Highness Minako?
During my Pelican vigil, the first person that came in told me who I needed to bring up in the Pelican circle. And it was someone I hadn't heard of. And then a comment was made to me, and I will never, ever forget it. And they said, I know nobody likes you because you drink all the time and you don't wear makeup, but I think you'll be a good Pelican. I was like, oh, so do you think mascara would make me more organized? Because if you think, I will get some. And so that really stuck with me. And there were good things said to me, but I couldn't get past the first two people.
Nobody likes you because you don't wear mascara?
Because I don't wear makeup. And well, I think the exact term was, nobody likes you because you drink too much, you don't wear makeup, and you dress like a boy. Is what I was told. So yeah, that one stuck with me forever. Good pieces of advice. And Oh yeah, one person said, now that you're a peer, I'll hold you accountable for what you do. And I said, well, now that I'm a peer, I'm going to also hold you accountable. So that was kind of me giving advice. I don't know. And then during my nighting vigil, I don't know. That was kind of, almost everyone was just nice. Hard to believe, but most everyone was nice during that one.
That's good. It was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Vigil. I'm trying to remember. I had a pretty small vigil. It was at a smaller event in Alberon. I didn't have a ton of people show up. And we were drinking tequila. So
I remember I drank tequila with you.
Yeah.
There's a reason I don't drink tequila.
There's a reason I don't drink tequila either. I don't remember a lot of the.
Cognac give you that tequila. She's so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Cognac and Gio gave it to me as when I was offered. They gave me this amazing bottle of tequila and said that I needed to share a drink with anyone who had advice for me. And I did. It took us a long time to work through that bottle, but
yeah,
we eventually did. Mistress Aquilina wants to know, what kind of bone was your scepter when you were countess?
So I'll just give a little backstory. His Royal Majesty Bela, the crown before this eternal crown that he just won, bestowed on me the title of the Bone Countess. And so I thought, I'm going to show everybody that I could not be a prude, because every time I have to say he's the Bone Duke, I just die and I blush. So I was like, I'm going to man up. And so I think it's called a baculum. It's a walrus penis bone. And I pretty much pulled it off the whole time until I was trying to tell Duchess Cecilia about it and called it the Walrick penis bone like 3 times. So
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty much that. I carried it around. I was going to hit somebody with it's hefty. Would you like to see it?
Yes, absolutely. I think everybody. She just
more
had
magnificent
her
than
all
their
the time.
Like, yeah, you never know when you'll need one. It's hefty. I would hit somebody with it. That's all. So yeah. So
oh, she did blush.
Oh yeah, the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping Aquilina's internet was out tonight.
No.
Yeah.
No. Avery wants to know the story of the I Heart Slaine stickers and pins.
Oh, how sweet, Avery. So once upon a time, Avery, there was a guy named Gundahar, and his device had a heart on it, and he had it on a big giant shield. And so one time I wrote my name in the heart, and he said, oh, I'm going to be the president of the I Heart Slaine fan club. And then I believe it was Kaz and Nathaniel said, we're the presidents of the I Heart Slaine fan club. And then I went to an event in Wyoming. I think it was in Wyoming, called Glory, which was one of the best little events. And Clem McKillinkay had made stickers that said I Heart Slaine on them. And a bunch of people had them on their shields and had them on their helmets. And that's how it happened. And then I came home to Alberon and someone said, I want an I Heart Slaine sticker. And I told them, well, I didn't make them myself. Like, I don't have any. because I brought home a couple for Charlie, for your papa, Avery. And then they said, well, I'm going to get a sticker and put an X through it. And I said, well, it's okay, because you can love me or hate me, but you're still thinking about me when you go to bed.
I love that people thought you had your own fan club, or thought you started your own fan club.
Yeah, I'm pretty vain, but again, that's one of those things that once they know it's true, you'll never convince them it's not. But
yeah, wow.
And the pins, I don't actually know who makes the pins.
I don't know. I don't have an I Heart Slaine pin.
Oh, hater.
But I think I told you that once.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, but it's because I'm a hater. So, Sir Giovanni wants to know, or Count Giovanni wants to know, what is the primary duty of a pelican?
The primary duty of a pelican is to know people's strengths, know where to put them to volunteer, and to know who to ask, to know how to ask them. No offense to anyone who can't eat gluten or can't eat sugar, but if you're having a bake sale, maybe that's not the person you want to put in charge of it. You want them to be a part of it, but and that's maybe not a good example, but you just got to know if someone's strength is setting up tents, you're not going to ask them to make the schedule on a spreadsheet.
Right.
And so I think that's our duty, is to know how people can help, so we don't set them up to fail, but we set them up to succeed when they are helping.
That's a good point. I took a FEMA emergency management class, like what to do when there's a natural disaster, how to handle if there's a flood or a bomb threat or things like that, for my job, not for the SCA.
Okay.
But in some of the practice exercises that we did, and some of the like the planning forms and the different like exercises and thought process that you go through, to me it felt a lot like being in charge of an event and thinking of what are all the things that could go wrong, and who do I need to have here so that if XYZ happens, someone can deal with this, and someone's got to wait for that thing to happen, and here this person is coming in from outside and somebody needs to be at the gate and this thing, and there's where's the EMTs, and where's the this, and where's the where's the shade, and if it's hot, and if it rains, and if it all of those things. It just felt so much like an SCA event, but it's kind of funny. It's like crisis management. So I was just amused by that.
Yeah, I see that sometimes at weddings when you like want to start picking up plates and moving the tables, and you're all, oh wait, someone else is going to do that.
No, you're a guest. There's caterers for that. I never get that. Like, wait, there are people for that? I thought we were aren't we the people that are gonna? We need to go do dishes.
Yeah, because we will.
Yes, we will. Not always happily, but
no.
Well, yes. What is your most precious piece of Pelican regalia? And that's a question for me.
My brand new, this is my new favorite. Countess Matilda made it for me. Easy. Oh, wait.
Oh, that is beautiful.
It's really beautiful. But my favorite piece of Pelican regalia I gave away. I wasn't real hands-on in my Pelican vigil or ceremony, and it never occurred to me that I needed to track down a medallion. So I was they called for the medallion, and it had been a super dry Battlemore, but it only rained like the 8 minutes of my ceremony, and there was no medallion. And Duchess Gabriella, who was the Queen of Aidenville at the time and who I didn't know. She took it off and she said, my husband made this for me. And she says, I don't really know you, but I know there's a bunch of people out there standing in the rain like it's not raining. And I was so honored, and it was beaded. And I'm like, I am going to break this. I am so going to break this. But then I made sure to hand it on to her friends as they were elevated. And so now I believe it's back in her lineage. But that was my favorite thing. I was so honored to get that from her.
That's awesome.
But I have this from Matilda, and Matilda made me my other one too. That's really awesome.
It's good. I have to confess, I couldn't find mine. I couldn't find my medallion tonight, or my coronet, or most of my garb or jewelry, because it's been a year and everything got put away because we're working at home. And
I think you have a month to find something else to wear for your next interview.
Yeah. I have.
You're going to know if you wear
I can't just wear the same. I can't just wear my same.
Yeah, but put a pin on it. It'll look totally
different.
Yeah,
then it'll look totally different. There. Yeah. See?
Perfect. Yeah.
Totally a different dress.
Yeah.
Slippers, no shoes, no hat, no nothing. Yeah. It is what it is. Here's one of my random questions is, who would be better on a shield wall, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Why?
They're loyal. Cats are whatever. With dogs, my dogs are right here with me. I mean, you heard them protect me earlier. Don't put a cat on a shield wall. I couldn't even fathom that. Of course, I mean, don't put me on a shield wall either, but yeah, dogs for sure.
Because the cats would probably go over to the other side if they had better treats.
Or just not even care. They wouldn't stay. They wouldn't protect.
No. They might point and laugh from the sidelines.
Yes.
While you got your ass handed to you.
Yeah, laying under their shield in the shade. Yeah.
Oh, I think I might be a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. All right. Someone else already asked that. What is a type of service that you loathe but can't say no to?
Interviews on the internet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being my first victim.
Oh, honestly, when I got your text, I was like, oh, she must need me to pick up Thomas from the airport or something. And I read it and I was like, oh, right. So
I did do that whole frame it as
You did. You framed it with how much do you love me? And I mean, my love is only unconditional or not given at all. So here I am. You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
Interview show too. And only ask people with red hair to be on it.
Okay, sweet. I'm busy that day.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what you can do is you can help me pick my next victim.
Guest. Your next guest.
Oh, I'm guest. I mean guest.
That's how we talk about getting people to volunteer.
Guest. Yeah. You can help me. You can help me come up with a few names of people you think that
I totally will
sit here in the spotlight.
Yeah, I keep trying to move the spotlight. I mean, at my age, no amount of light's going to help anything, but it's really dark if I move it.
I keep looking for a filter, like the softening filters they have on Zoom, but it's not happening. So, yeah. Okay, what were some of the other ones? Oh, what's more fun, being an adult or a kid?
I don't know much about being an adult. I would say being a kid's more fun because you just don't know. You don't know the hardships. You don't know what's going on around you. I moved every year. I went to a different school every year. I got really good at enjoying my own company. And then when you get older, you keep talking to that imaginary friend, and your friends are like, "Hey, what are you doing?" So, or hey, don't say that out loud.
Imaginary friends are my favorite people.
So I just think being a kid's more fun, but being an adult, like, you have the means to go have fun. So
True.
I don't know.
It might be harder to have fun, but you can make it yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
Sir Adrian wants to know, what piece of advice would you give a newcomer who wants to volunteer?
Do it. I mean, when we moved to Alberon, the fighter practices were really tiny. And I decided I wanted more people to go. And Alberon used to have a directory. And I didn't know anybody. I mean, I was really just Duke Sirith's wife at the time. And I started calling all the fighters in the directory to get them to go to the park. And then I definitely found that after my second beer, almost everyone I called showed up. Weird, right?
Do you remember if you had recordings of what those phone calls actually were?
I believe I called Rothgar and said, "I haven't seen you at the park. I've been practicing. I'm pretty sure I can kick your ass now." That was one of the calls. And Charlie showed up as I was calling Rorik and saying just about the same thing to him. And the next day at the park, I was so hungover. And Charlie says, "Oh, look, your date's here." And I look over, and there's Rothgar putting his armor on. I'm like, oh my God, because I had been fighting for 2 months. And then I fought Rothgar, and all I wanted to do was take my armor off. And Sarah says, "Oh, look, Rorik came too." And I was like, great. So, but I got people to go. And then we turned it into once a month, we would have a household or a group of people bring food and raise money for the Poor Fighters Fund to get people to Estrella. So if you want to volunteer, just do it. Don't wait for someone to ask you, or don't wait for someone to tell you. Just do it. I mean, it's not hard. I know it's hard if people are shy, but
yeah,
just do it.
That would be extraordinarily hard for me. I know, like, Thomas did that at one point. He called everybody in the Shire to be like, "Why aren't you coming? We have fighter practice and Shire meeting and all of these things, and you should come." And all of a sudden, like, 40 people came the next week, and it was amazing. But picking up the phone is like fingernail or needles under my fingernail.
Back then, we didn't have texting.
Or like Facebook.
Yeah.
Post a message, please. People show up. Okay. Let's see what's next. Akalina wants to know, she said, you were crowned before you were a baroness. Do you think it changed how you looked at the job?
Absolutely. The first time I was crowned, I had a stag's blood and an AOA, and I had no idea what went into not necessarily being the crown, but what the 100 people around you were doing for you. So you could shine, so you looked good, so you were prepared. And I went into being baroness as I owe all of these people something. It was a way to pay back and show my appreciation for everything that had been done for me, because I didn't know. I fought and I drank, and that was all I did. And being crowned opened my eyes to actually everything that goes on. And so being a baroness was my way to give back.
And it always feels like it's like just because it's so long, it's like it's a kind of more of a slog of a job, maybe looking at it from the outside.
It's 1,000 times more rewarding than being crowned.
You think? Yeah.
Well, because they're the ones you're close to. You know them. When you give an award, you've seen with your own two eyes what that person does. You don't have to rely on someone else telling you, well, this person's done this, because you see it, because you're right there with them. And yeah, that's it. It's just better. It's better. It lasts longer. And by the time you're done, you're like, I will never volunteer for anything again. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
But would you volunteer again?
No, that's a big hell no. I almost said the F word, and then I remembered Avery's watching. So,
sorry, yeah. Avery.
Oh, it's okay if you say it, not me.
Oh, okay. Because I'm pretty sure I already
I don't know if my mom's watching either.
So. Okay. Yeah. That's why we have a little scrolly warning on the bottom.
Yeah, it's good then.
I don't know how to watch my language. Shiloh wants to know, what is the funnest job you ever volunteered to do?
I didn't actually volunteer for it. I was volunteered for it by Bolslav. But when we used to have to drive around the Battlemore site with a big water thing, you had to hold the top to make sure the water went to the right place. And so I had to sit on it and hold the water hose.
I have a vivid memory of you.
Yeah, a really vivid memory. The best part was the next day when Bolslav did this thing. He's all, you didn't really have to hold it.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. But it was super fun, waving to everybody waving to me. I was so embarrassed. It was awesome.
But you know, what could possibly be better than that? Like, embarrassing service that's very useful and also maybe not quite necessary, but you didn't know that till later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bolslav always get me with those things too. He's very convincing.
We do have those people in our lives that convince us something has to be a certain way, and then later are like, hey. So, okay, we're running out of time, so I want to get through. There's a couple more questions. Let's see. You gave so many awards during the last reign. Did you love giving them out as much as it seemed? From the Baroness of Arkell.
I love giving awards. It's hard because I don't think we should play this game for the awards, but it's also pretty amazing to be able to recognize someone for what they've done. I've always said that this game attracts fatherless boys, which maybe that's how I felt when I first started playing, but it attracts people who maybe aren't able to shine outside of the SCA. And here you can come here and do something so off the wall, because I think painting and sewing and all that stuff is totally off the wall, but you can do that and people actually appreciate it. Where, you know, if you painted a scroll outside, they'd be like, oh, good. Yeah, that's calligraphy. I bought a box set of that at Barnes and Noble and I can do it too. And I think that I'm even a thank you as an appreciation, but I think that being able to say, not just your mom thinks you're cool. All these people think you're cool. And we're going to make sure now that everyone knows you're cool and what you do. So I'd love to give awards. I don't think I gave too many, but Rourke might have thought that I wanted to give too many.
Well, but they were meaningful to you and to the recipient. So then there weren't too many.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not like they were Mardi Gras beads that you were tossing off a float, right? They meant something.
Yeah, Rourke would not let me do that. For sure.
That's maybe
Yeah.
Oh, there was a really good comment that popped up on the screen that has now gone away. Is that yes, the SCA is a family for those who may not have one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I actually had a conversation with someone recently about having events over holiday weekends like Thanksgiving, and that there's a lot of people who would view that as a chance to spend Thanksgiving with their family because the SCA is their family. And it's something that I hadn't thought of, because my first response was like, no, people spend Thanksgiving with their family. And her response was,
yep,
the SCA is their family, like
yep.
Is our family. Oh, got it. Okay. Missed that. So anyway, Casca asks, as a knight and a pelican, do you think there's a difference between knightly service and pelican service?
I think service is service. I definitely think that there is different service associated with being a knight. But service is service. You know, you don't necessarily ask the pelican to be the knight marshal. But a knight autocrating an event, the service isn't different.
Right.
So, I mean, I think service as a peer is service as a peer. The only thing is with the pelican, the service is your strong point and not your flat snap. So.
Although I will say, a pelican as a knight marshal, I will say, having been seneschal, that knights are not always the greatest at paperwork. And so sometimes having a pelican as a knight marshal means that the waivers actually get turned in.
I guess.
But that's someone coming from the administrative side rather than the hitting people with sticks side.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're running out of time. We've got 5 minutes left, 2 questions. So when the Black Duke asked, when you moved to Kaid, Charlie was a duke, so you had to at least know what the SCA was, right?
I did. My first Outland, I played Amp Guard, which is why Tyranny came up. And I'm pretty sure I was more popular in Amp Guard than I could ever be in the SCA. But I went to my first Outlandish with a bunch of Amp Guarders when I was 18. And during that time, my first event, I was dressed so perfect, you know, and I watched Kragon dance. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I'd never seen a guy belly dance. I'd never really seen a girl belly dance either. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then there was another guy dancing next to him, and it was great until the guy turned around and his tunic was tucked into his underwear. And I was like, well, maybe the dancing part's not for me. And so the following year, I went to Outlandish, and Sirith also went, but we weren't together. That was actually our first kiss, though, at that Outlandish in 1989. And then, long story short, I was pregnant 2 months later. We broke up. he joined the SCA and I did not. So I didn't start playing the SCA until much later. I thought it was a bunch of weirdos in dresses. I wasn't into it at all.
It's still a bunch of weirdos in dresses. I mean,
yes, I agree. Yeah.
all our best friends.
Yep.
I also met my husband at an outlandish, dangerous event.
Yes.
Yeah. And the last question, also from the Black Duke, is which Duke have you known the longest?
Okay, well, this might be a trick question. I know he wants me to say the Black Duke because I've known him since I was 15 years old. So he became a Duke before any other Dukes I know, but I've known my husband since I was 8. So I've known him the longest.
There you go. I hope His Grace is satisfied with.
I hope so.
Whether it was what he wanted or not. I had a whole bunch of questions that I didn't get to ask, and I'm okay with that because everybody else did, and
Good.
didn't have to do any of the heavy lifting. So, do you have any last things that you want to say before we sign off?
One of the questions you were going to ask was what advice I would give or something like that. And I just want to say to anyone watching this or anyone who watches it not live stream, always be true to yourself. Don't ever fake it, because when they find out, it's heartbreaking. So be true to yourself, stay true to yourself, play for you. And if you're playing for you and you're doing it right, it will benefit everyone.
That's awesome. Thank you for sitting here with me and talking to me. And think about who you would like to see here next month.
You should go the opposite end of the spectrum and get a good Pelican. Like, I was going to say Conliac, but she just did something. I'll think of someone.
She did, and I can't just choose my friends and family. Because, I mean, I could just.
Well, that would be 3, though. 4.
Yeah. I will say, you say that I should get a good Pelican next time, but my husband, who I'm pretty biased, but I think he's a pretty good guy and a pretty good judge of character. When I told him that you were my first guest, he said that was amazing because he could think of very few other people who were as good a representation of our order as you.
Give him a big hug for me.
I will.
With a mask on.
I will. Well, I don't have to use a mask with him.
But it's from me.
Oh, right. Okay. I'll put a mask and like I'll blush when I do it too. So that'll be great. So I love you. Thank you for being here. And for everybody who tuned in, thank you. If you have any suggestions of people who you'd like to see here, you can leave them in the comments. And tune in on March 3rd for the Peering at the Outlands Order of Defense, which is Master Ian Raven of Tadcaster interviewing Don Antoine Duvalier. March 3rd at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.